In the gallant days when history hung on the flight of an arrow or the slash of a sword, when feudal barons ravaged the countryside to live in pomp and splendor.
It is truly colorful, exciting, fascinating entertainment every minute of the way.
Moonsea Adventures.
Hello and welcome back to Moonsea Adventures. The last session was a most epic event. You guys had discovered this young black dragon. You discovered that it was infected. You fought for your lives against it and successfully defeated it. And you were able to help all the prisoners and the lizard folk to flee the keep. And through the guidance of your new friend and ally, Viz, who is adept at navigating the swampy, marshy terrain of the Thar, you guys were able to actually make it to a safe spot. You traveled all through the night, but you found a grove, and his people exhausted, the prisoners exhausted, you guys exhausted, but basically you found a grove within the Thar where you were able to take cover, and you all get a long rest. Yay!
Yoo-hoo!
In addition to the long rest, you guys have the benefit of being able to kind of think about what you want to do next. And I kind of want you guys to sort of communicate about this out loud. So what are your thoughts? Like you guys have learned some stuff, obviously, about the keep and the situation there. You've helped these prisoners and the lizard folk to escape. And in so doing, you've made a few new allies. But what are your thoughts about where to go next? What does the party think?
Well, we should probably check on our allies and maybe we can debrief in Melbourne with the Night Lady. Or we can go to Flan. We can check up on the Mad Druid. What do you think, guys?
Well, I think that whatever we do, we need to be wary of the Black Dragon. He probably will sense that his youngling is gone, dead, killed. Maybe even through the kobolds know that the slaves have been set free. So he might come after us, so we need to be aware of him, her. And yeah, I think getting out back to civilization might be a good idea.
All right. What are your thoughts, Angler?
If I start writing on my board, I'd like to go to Flan to check on the druid.
I'll also remind you guys in case, because it has been a couple sessions, but remember that Harley's familiar, Murmur, had informed you that there was an attack on the troops that were stationed at the Moonwatch, and that the Moonwatch Hills had been devastated, as well as many of the semi-sentient trees that had been mobilized to create a frontline defensive position by the Mad Druid. So there are a couple questions about, that you can also be kind of considering. So far we're talking possibly going to Melvaunt, possibly going to Flan, keeping in mind that you aren't so sure what's gone on in the Moonwatch Hills as well. Ushun, what's your direction? Where do you think the party should go next?
I believe we should meet up with the approaching troops and reconnoiter with them. Tell them what we know about the dragon and see if they have a plan. We also need to inform the Dark Lady what we've been up to. Ask what she's heard from the druid and his people besieging the coastal cities.
Okay.
I don't think we should move without information. And don't worry about me not having armor, because frankly, I'm better off without it.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe good to debrief, and then if the Night Lady wants us in Flan, we can take a look by the small detour what happened to the Moonwatch. So
what are you guys thinking about in terms of how you want to do this?
well, quickly. we have to head south to Melbourne. We spent too much time in this godforsaken swamp.
Do we ask the lizard folk with us, or shall they remain in the swamps?
That's up to you.
I think they will be welcomed, but depends on if they want to go there. And if we can find some trinket I need for my spells, we may speak with them without any trouble, really. Well, and I think none of you happen to have like small clay pyramid, do you?
No.
No, well, I can try to make some by myself, but it won't be precise exactly, so it may not work. And in the meantime, I'll try to slap together some dirt and maybe try to make like this pyramid of clay or dirt and try to use my dunk spell.
Okay. I mean, you take a little while. Some of the lizard folk are kind of looking around and sort of foraging for food. They find not a lot of great options, you know, some grubs, some kind of bottom dwelling fish, and, you know, some roots and stuff. While they are kind of tending to their own people, do any of you want to talk to Viz?
Well, if my magic works, I will try.
Okay. I'll say that, you know, about an hour goes by, you're able to kind of make this little clay and mud pyramid, and you kind of dry fire it on a stone that's kind of around the low fire that they have. And, you know, after an hour, you feel like this would be a sufficient item to be able to conduct your spell with.
So I cast dunks on me, which lasts for an hour, and I can understand everybody and everybody can understand me. So only then I go to Wiz and say, like, my friend, we have allies in the nearby town, and you'll be welcome, you and your people. If you want to go there, we can provide with at least elementary safety. What do you say?
Viz, he kind of pauses. He takes a moment to consider this. He says, I do not think, my friend, that my people would be safe in these towns. The cities are not very accepting of my people. We would seek to head further west, away from Cherna, to find safety in the Thar. Our people can survive here, but I would seek to be further away from the great dragon.
I understand.
I am concerned for you, my friends, because I have heard many bad things of what goes to the south. Cherna has sent his kobolds for to take a city. If it is the same city of which you speak, I do not think it would be good for you to go there, because there are several hundred kobolds in his army. Plus, one of his emissaries has gone with them to coordinate and strategize.
What emissary do you speak of?
He says, we do not know his name, but he wears a black cloak with big hood. He, I think, maybe is human, but I have not seen his face, because only one time when he came to the keep to meet with Cherna, he wore a silver mask.
And does he possessed anything that had like a dragon sigil rising with an orb?
When you say this, Viz looks up at you, his eyes open wide. He says, an amulet from a silver chain on his neck. It had picture of dragon who look like falling.
Well, does it look like this? And I pull out one of my scimitars. I
Before you even,
acquired.
yeah, the moment you show it, he's like, yes, is this? Is this?
Well, then you made me so happy, my friend. Those are my sworn enemies. And I will hunt them to the end of the earth.
This one, he was going with Kobold Army, but has been gone for some weeks. If you try to find, I think is with Kobold Army in this city.
The Kobold army you're speaking of went southwest to the city of Flan.
Yes, we, because Cherna tell us to, we led them through Thar. And then when they come close to some hills, then they go, we return. It was not long after that when Viz found you. And he points to Ushun. It was not long after when Viz found you.
That's great information, my friend. Well, if you reconsider, go southeast to the city of Melbourne. There you find not many people left, but those who are still there will welcome you if you say that the Raven Queen sent you. It's another reincarnation of your goddess. Don't worry about it. Just tell them this, and they will let you in.
I thankful for friends. And he looks to all of you. But Viz must care for his people. We will go to the west after one more day of camp here.
I understand, my friend. And may your goddess lead you to a safer place.
He nods, and then he kind of goes back to coordinating with the stronger scouts and encouraging them to, kind of prepare. You see the people are gathering. They're like gathering anything that they could find for food. You see they're trying to look for dry wood that they could use along the way, that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, just a moment after Viz kind of goes back to what he's doing, you were approached by the human that you guys rescued from the mines, Vihozi. And he comes up to you and he says, excuse me, my friends, I heard that you were speaking of going to a city. I have been imprisoned in the mines for quite some time, but is there not plagues anymore to be concerned about? Because this is why I fled into the Thar, because the cities were overrun by the infected ones.
Yeah, there was a plague for months.
Is it gone now?
Well, we haven't seen anyone with the plague for quite some time, and
Wait a second.
And we have a cure.
That
yeah,
that little dragon had it.
yeah, but besides that, the last one we saw with the plague was that troll in the Moonwatch Hills.
Vihozi nods. He says, if the plague is gone, as you have said, I will return with you. I will walk with you.
Well,
I do not have armor or my shield, but I can fight and help you.
well, and now you have 2 swords, and I give him the scimitars of
He nods.
those
He
people.
says, thank you.
But I would scratch those signs there that are there a little bit more. It's not very welcomed in the city we're coming from.
He
And
starts looking around for like a rock to do that with.
yeah, don't worry.
Yes,
I would like you to come with us.
I will come with you. Yes, yes. And he kind of goes also to kind of scrounge for some dry wood and other maybe useful items to bring along. Are the rest of you trying to connect with anyone else, or what else are you doing?
Well, I'm trying.
I was
Okay.
going up to the dwarf and get him up to speed on what's going on and see how long he's been imprisoned and what he where he's from.
All right. You approach the dwarf and you see that he has actually spent the morning basically crafting a very primitive hammer. Like he found like a relatively solid stone and a sturdy piece of wood, and now he's kind of wrapped vines around it, and it's almost like a stone hammer. He kind of looks up at you and he says, and so where is it that you head off to?
We're probably heading towards Flan, see what's going on there.
He
That's one of
shakes his
the
head. He says, you know your own business, friend, but I would not head to the Moonsea. It's a cursed place now. Who knows what plagues exist there, not to mention the interests of the great dragon.
Well, we have kind of conquered the plague. We found and helped a pharmacist make a cure, and it mostly petered out, and those that were remained we have healed up with this new potion. So there's no real risk of the plague anymore. And the folks we left behind should be making more and more potions to help any who come across and get them cured.
I see. Well, I myself, I must prepare for a different road. I have people to the northeast of the Thar.
Mm-hmm.
It is a long trek, and I am not enthusiastic about doing so myself, especially without equipment and supplies, but it is where I must go.
Do you have any? Yeah.
I speak to him in Dwarvish, and I ask him, I don't know the name of the dwarves, but I ask him if they're the certain dwarves that took me in.
No. So just out of character to clarify. So where you were from was kind of the southwest, I guess west by southwest of the Thar.
Okay.
Whereas where he is from is kind of northeast. So I would say that you might not have like a vast knowledge of this, but you probably know well enough that let me think of where this would be in relation to where you guys are. So you know that there are mountains to the east and the north of the Thar. Your people were closer to the mountains to the west of the Thar. So your people were kind of in the not the prairie, but kind of the plains to the east of the Dragonspire Mountains. And it sounds like the dwarfs people are in the Galena Mountains, which are to the north and east.
Do you know anything, again, still in Dwarvish, do you know anything about the dwarves of which I speak, their cities?
He says, I know of the dwarves that live in the Ride. I know that their camps move seasonally. I assume that it is them of whom you speak. I also know that there are other dwarves who dwell in the mountains, the Dragonspires, but my people have not been in contact with them for quite some time. The shadow of the Zentarum extends now to the Dragonspire, and the days of old when the dwarves of the Dragonspire were free have long passed. If any still exist, they only do so in secret. This would be my almost certain guess.
So be it. Well, got another place to go, guys. The Dragonspire, I guess the dwarves that took me in after I was orphaned are now no longer free. They are ruled by the Zentarum. But I don't want to move before we hear from Melvant.
Yeah. Well, if you want to head back to your folks, we can see if we can make a copy of the cure, so that if you find the pharmacist back amongst your people, you might be able to help and create the cure for yourselves. And maybe as you go towards your camp, look for ingredients as you go. And we'll
Bill,
be
is
sad
there
to see you
any,
go, but to spread the
there any
word of
pa-
the cure, that's probably even a better idea, maybe even.
is there any paper or writing materials? Okay,
And
I
what was
only
that,
have
Becky?
one copy. How's your memory?
None of you know the exact recipe. If I would say if anyone would have a shot at that, it would be Ushun, literally only because you helped, like, originally when you guys were trying to figure out the cure. You may remember that Ushun was the one who helped Rihanna to like work in her apothecary shop and try to figure out how to distill all of the ingredients into a cure. If you wanted to make that, you would A, need all the ingredients, and B, you would have to have precise measurements and a means of cooking the ingredients over consistent heat, which there's no chance that you have that in the middle of the Thar.
No, but I thought one of us had a copy of the cure written out.
Yes, you have it on paper, but
yeah,
like Ushun has the ingredients written out on paper, but not the means to reproduce it without a proper. Basically, like you would need a laboratory. You would need something where you can consistently measure it out.
Yeah, but if we can get all the instructions to the dwarf, and he takes that knowledge back to his kin, maybe amongst their kin, they can have someone make it.
Yeah, there's nobody amongst the prisoners who has any kind of paper or quill or even like charcoal.
Yeah, that's why she asked if the dwarf's memory was any good.
Yeah, he's like, I appreciate the effort, but he's like, I do not think that the plague has extended past the Moonsea, which is why I head northeast to my people.
Well, let's work on you memorizing the recipe.
No, he's like, no, thank you. I am not concerned about that. My concern is to pack up as much as I can from here and head out. I do not wish to be spotted traveling the Thar by Cherna or any of his minions.
Fair enough.
I must leave as soon as possible, but I wish you well in your travels.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next?
Well, I'll try to contact Murmur. It was a long time.
Okay.
And I have some doubts that he may be lost.
No, to the contrary. You contact Murmur, and Murmur has been following the forces from Melvont. Murmur seems glad that you have reached out. He informs you that I don't want to say an army because they're not an army, but the group from Melvont is, he thinks, maybe only a day away from the keep. He tells you that the dark-skinned elf from Fentia is leading the forces. And you remember this person to be Nuge. She is the captain of the skinned rats in Fentia, and she is leading the forces from Melvont. And Murmur tells you that they're only a day away from the keep.
Okay, Murmur. Let me have your body and your voice just for a little bit. And I work into him and fly to Noosh.
Okay, you do. You find Nuge amongst the scouts at the front of the line. You notice that they're traveling in like a three person across formation, and they're kind of keeping a straight column. You appear, and Nuge, of course, at first is like caught off guard, but then you speak.
Hello, my friend. It was a long time no see. It's me, Harleyfox. And I'm speaking to you through my familiar. We fled from the keep of the Black Dragon just recently. We managed to free some of its slaves. And we managed to kill his youngling. But be careful. That Black Dragon is a adult beast and it's not to be trifled with.
Nuge lowers her weapons and she kind of puts a hand up and the rest of the group stops and she says, "The Night Lady and Rakul told us that you would scout it out. Have you found a way for us to infiltrate the keep?"
There is a cave where we found the young dragon, where we slew it. And
she seems surprised when you mentioned young dragon.
It was infected, but we managed.
She says, "How many dragons are there? I thought there was just the one."
Well, we found only one, and it was the young dragon. It was one of Cherna's skin. We haven't seen any other, but there's a lot of kobolds. You can get to the keep by means of those underground caves. But you have to be swift and you have to be stealthy. And I try to scratch into the mud like a circle where the keep is, where's the main entrance to the keep, and where in respect with that main entrance is the entrance to the cave, so they can find it easily. That will be probably the best place to make an surprising attack. The main gates are heavily fortified by kobolds. I do not recommend to do that. You have to be very careful.
She says, "In these caves, you saw kobolds. Once we get into the caves, how do we get up from there?"
There are stairs on the top of the keep. We haven't been there personally, but there was an alarm device that Angler destroyed, and they weren't alerted to our presence. At least we think, because they would be following us. And there were some kobolds that we dispatched without casualties. There was the dragon that we killed, and we haven't seen anything more dangerous in particular in those parts of the keep. It may be also good place to retreat when the Cherna attacks you. But be wary, my friend.
We will be, and thank you for this. It's most helpful. She says, are you going to be at the keep? Should we plan on rendezvousing with you, or have you moved on?
We had to escort those freed slaves further from the keep. But now we're planning to go back to Melvond just to debrief with the Night Lady.
She says, can you have your familiar lead us to the keep, to the place that you have shown me? Because it is very foggy now. It's difficult to see where we are.
Yes, of course. But one of those signs that you are close is the fog itself. So you have to be very close to the keep itself.
We will
I
wait
leave,
until nighttime.
I leave my familiar with you. I don't need him right now, but if you'll have any problems with locating that secret entrance, contact me through that familiar. Just speak to him and he'll let me know.
Very good. Thank you.
I thank you too, my friend, and may the Raven Queen guide you.
Okay, so you instruct Murmur to essentially guide Nuge and the Melvant forces. So that's in play. At this point, it is middle of the afternoon. So Viz and the rest of the Ishterka are kind of resting and gathering supplies, and their plan is to leave at night, to travel at night and rest and hide during the day. What are you guys gonna do?
Well, I'll try to mingle with the other survivors and maybe help them with small tasks. But I want to rest a little bit, just very light activity.
I'm gonna hand out some rations. One to the dwarf, one to the human, and like 3 to the lizard man. I have 7.
Okay. They are all very grateful. Anybody else doing anything during the day?
Just before my long rest, I use one of my last spell slots to generate a dozen or 10 good berries for us to use, and maybe give an extra one to the dwarf, so he can have a final bite just before the end of before it spoils.
Okay.
So he gets 2 days of nourishment.
Again, they are all very grateful.
Are we all healed up?
Yeah,
We've had a long rest.
You guys kind of had a long rest that began in the middle of the night and went through to like noon. So you're fully rested. It's middle of the afternoon.
I'm going to talk with the elf. What's he going to do?
You guys haven't really talked to him very much.
Yeah, I want to talk to him.
You see that he's not really situated with anyone else. He's not like helping the lizard folk. He's not like talking with anybody else. He's kind of off on his own. leaning up against a tree. His eyes are open, but he's just kind of staring out across the swamp.
I'll wave my hand in front of his face. Is he trancing?
It looks like he's trancing, but then he kind of blinks out of it and he looks up at you and he says, "Hello, my friend. What is it that I can help you with?" And you engage him in conversation briefly, where he tells you that he is actually planning on heading south as well. He doesn't really want to go to a city, but he wants to get out of the Thar so that he can try to head west. And Marie has frozen. So that happened. So
just to make fun of the elf, I'll try to sing lullabies in Undercommon.
I mean, in short, like the elf is not really interested in joining your party or your effort. So in summary, the elf is not interested in joining you guys in Flan, but he will travel with you through the Thar so that he can get to kind of a civilized road, and then he wants to head west. So
Is
really,
that where your home is?
he says, "No, my home is much further west, but I can't get home easily.
Yeah. Not through the Thor.
Certainly not through the Thar." He says, I'll travel with you, do what I can to help you, but he's like, I have no intent of going to Flan or any of the other corrupt cities of the Moonsea. He's like,
Yeah.
my home is much further west.
You
Does he
have
have a
your
weapon?
goals and we have ours. I understand. But we have a little bit of the common road.
Yes, and I will join you on that.
Well, we should rest a little bit more and then get on the way.
Mhm.
He's like, you do not by some chance have a means of flying, do you?
Well,
Nope.
no, my friend. That would be much appreciated, but we don't. We are not that kind of adventurers.
He shrugs and he says, I am ready to travel whenever you are.
Does he have a weapon on him?
He has one of the mining picks.
I will offer 2 daggers. If you would like a dagger instead of a mining pick.
He actually stands up, bows, and takes the dagger. Thank you. He sets the mining pick over by the supplies that the lizard folk are gathering. And then he kind of goes back to his spot.
Well, we should go as soon as possible. We shouldn't be dwindling here. It's much too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we can, I'm prepared for the road. Just tell me when you are ready.
Oh, guess
So
we're ready
where
as
are
we're
we?
ever going to be. And frozen again.
Carrying on. Do you guys
Yeah.
choose to travel under cover of night, or are you going to wait a full day and travel in the next morning?
I'm
I
fine
can-
traveling through dusk and night.
Yeah.
And I can guide us with my night vision, so yeah, we can go on the under cover of the darkness.
Okay. You wait a few more hours, and as night falls, Viz gathers the rest of the Ishterka tribe and again goes to you. He thanks you again for everything that you've done for his people. And then he begins leading them further west. Vihozi and the elf both kind of stand and gather near you guys, ready to begin your journey.
Where are we going?
Plan?
Well, now we have to go to Flan just to speak with the Night Lady and
That's a Melvon.
oh, sorry.
No, you went for
I
the
thought-
druid in Flan.
Yeah. We're going to the Flan, so we'll check the druid and speak with Night Lady later.
Well, I want to join up with the army. So could we go by there before we go on to Melvon?
It's pretty dangerous, and the army is very close to the keep. We
Yeah,
may,
so are we.
yeah, but we may end up in a pretty bad situation there. If the Cherna starts raging.
As you guys are talking about this, Vihozi is like, excuse me, my friends, but I couldn't help overhear that you were discussing possibly going back to the keep because there was some army there. This sounds very glorious and courageous. But may I just point out to you that we literally just fled from this keep, which is a terrible place that I do not want to go back to.
Well, me neither, my friend. Me neither. The raging adult black dragon is terrifying prospect.
Yes, you have all done more than your parts to rescue us. But I do not have armor or a shield. I am not confident about going into battle, even if there is another army of allies. This is just my opinion, with all due respect, my friends.
Oh, you want
Elf-
to come with us to Melbont?
The elf walks up and says, I also will not be returning to the keep. If you choose to do so, I wish you good fortune, but I will be walking south to find a road and then eventually find a boat. So are we walking south or am I walking south?
Well, I am walking south. I don't want to get caught in the open when the Cherna arrives. And it's more than possible.
So how many of us can see in the dark? I know the human can't.
Well, don't worry, I'll lead him.
Great, you lead him, and I will lead my small masked friend who gave me a dagger. Come, small masked friend. By the way, what's your name? Oh,
I'm sure I can say it in Harley's voice. It's like Angler.
Angler. Well met, Angler. I am Echo Cloudstrider. I am happy to be your guide as we walk to safety. Come, let's go.
I'll follow.
Yeah, let's go. Vihozi, what do you got for weapons?
I have the 2 scimitars that
Okay.
that Harley has given me.
Okay,
They are very well crafted weapons.
yeah. I got this extra club, so whenever you need it, just grab it off my back.
No, that's okay. I have 2 scimitars. See? 1 and 2. That's 1 more than I actually need.
I see.
I am not very well trained in any sort of combat that involves 2 weapons, but I will try to use this one as sort of a way to block attacks if I need to. I would like to get armor and a shield someday, though, if we live.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's a zero chance of meeting up with the army on our way out. Otherwise, you can ask them for if they have a spare shield. But
No, they are too close. They are already in fog.
They're only a few hours away, whereas you guys are like 8 hours away.
Okay.
Well, I'll offer the club. It's a great club, so I'll offer it to the dwarf if he wants it.
The dwarf left already.
Oh,
okay.
okay. Oh well. Alrighty then. It's a spare. All right. Well, so we're going to Melvont or Flan.
I thought we were going to Flan for the druid. And we can always send Murmur back to the Night Lady.
Okay, so we're going to see the druid,
Correct.
not all the way to Flan.
Well, probably.
Okay. Oh, he's in Flan.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, you guys don't know where the druid is.
He said
Because
he's going to fly.
Murmur, but Murmur didn't go as far as Flan. And the only area that was close to that would be the Moonwatch Hills. And that's where you saw through Murmur that Cherna had wiped out that encampment of rangers that was in the Moonwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Harley, where you go, I will go.
Well, at first we have to go south to the road, and then we will probably head west to Flan. It looks like our elf friend has at least some of the road, same with us, so we'll be traveling in a larger group, maybe up to the Flan, and
Mm-hmm.
Vihosi is more than capable of fighting with those weapons, so we can use spare hands there.
All right. You guys
We
begin
will
heading
assess the
south.
situation.
Who has the best survival?
Don't look at me.
Okay, go ahead and make survival checks for those of you with proficiency in survival.
Yeah, that's not going to work. It's a 6.
21.
18.
I thought better of you, stupid die.
21 will do it. You guys are moving through a swamp, which is difficult by itself because it's difficult terrain. And it's nighttime. As you're doing that, you're going from like dry spot through a marsh to another dry spot, you know, as you did when you traveled towards the keep. But it's nighttime, it's a little more dangerous. As you're proceeding, you come across, and this is like 4 hours go by. You come across an area that looks somewhat familiar. And you feel like maybe you've passed by this area before. And slightly off in the distance, you see like little floating, glowing things in the air.
No.
About 60 feet away.
Well,
You, fortunately, as you kind of stop to take stock of where you're at, you notice something else. Angler, you're kind of looking at just literally the ground right in front of you because you just have moonlight to illuminate the space. You notice what initially looks like a pile of sticks, like somebody had just dropped some kindling, but then you look closer and you see that the sticks are actually arranged on the ground in a specific configuration, and it looks like an arrow pointing southwest. And just for reference, the sparkling, glowing, flying things are due east of where you guys are right now. So imagine you're heading south. The sparkly things are on your left. And this configuration of sticks on the ground is an arrow aiming southwest, kind of to your right.
I'll point it out to the party.
It looks interesting. Maybe we should go that way and avoid those wisps. Well, with my super duper night vision, I can shoot them from afar, but it would be better just to avoid them. Maybe the southwest is the best possible way.
Echo says yes. Anywhere but that way. He's like,
How's
we are not
the-
equipped to fight the undead.
Yeah. How's the moonlight? Is there enough for me to use my spyglass?
In combination with dark vision, sure.
Okay, and then I want to scan east through west, going south, and take special care at the southwest.
As you're looking through the spyglass, everything looks green. No, I'm just kidding. Night vision. Yeah, you can see that it's just crappy travel for as far as you could see in every direction. Just patches of straight up swamp and then some boggy patches. Like, you're not in a good place right now, defensively speaking. Like, there are no trees.
Yeah, but I'm also not
There's
seeing
no
any,
cover. Like, you are wide out in the open.
Yeah, but I'm also not seeing any obvious dangers in the southwest area.
No.
It
No.
looks clear.
Yeah, it looks
Right.
about the same terrain wise. And
yeah,
but again, as you kind of do a whole
scan.
yeah, like there's no cover. Like, you guys are wide out in the open.
Yeah. Well, I'm not seeing any danger south nor southwest. So there's no real reason southwest might not be a better option. So I'd say southwest, follow the arrow.
I'm looking up into the sky. Anything darkening the moon?
So it's a pretty clear night, actually. You guys are far enough away from the keep where you're not completely engulfed in the fogs. And the sky has a few clouds, but it's a pretty clear night. You don't see any silhouettes up in the sky.
Well, I'm going to keep glancing up to the sky now and then. I don't want to be caught by that dragon.
Noted.
Just to be sure, Syllar, would you mind lending me that spyglass just for a second?
Sure.
And with my longer dark vision, I try to look in the direction of that arrow just to assess terrain.
Make a perception check with advantage.
Okay, I'm not that perceptive at all. 4.
That's with advantage?
Yep.
Wow,
I
you
rolled
were
3 and 5, and I have
You-
-1.
All righty then.
Yeah, like I said, nothing there.
Nope.
Yeah, it looks absolutely normal. Here, well, we should go. And I'm
Up.
just heading in that way. Vihozi,
How close are we to that arrow?
Right on top.
Yeah. Like, literally, you guys were all kind of looking around you and maybe distracted by what you are pretty sure is another will-o-wisp. But Angler just like was looking down and noticed this.
Okay, I'm gonna look back along the line of the fletching. In other words, back to where it may have come from.
Okay.
Look this way, Harley.
Make another perception check with disadvantage.
Me?
Whoever's looking.
You know,
Well, I'm not looking with the thingy, but I'll.
Okay, so he finds
make a
nothing.
Let me see.
I rolled a 1, not net, but still.
I got an
If
11.
all you're
just-
doing, if
just-
all you're doing is staying put and trying to use the spyglass, you have to roll with disadvantage.
mhm.
Yeah, I'm not
If
using
you're
it.
moving, then I need to know where you're going and what direction.
I would say
Okay, I'm
follow
gonna
the arrow.
examine. I'm gonna examine this arrow. Hold it up for Syllar to look at the fletching. Do you recognize this?
It's not you. I think you missed this. It's not an actual arrow. It's a series of sticks that's been laid out to almost look like they were just randomly tossed there, but it makes an arrow shape.
Okay. Well, let's head that way.
Yeah, we probably should. Just to avoid those pesky
But-
lights.
Being extra aware of getting tricked.
Yeah. I'll tell Vihozi real quickly about the plant monster we found in the Thar. So I said, watch your step.
Well, let's keep behind me.
Okay, you guys continue
going.
going southwest.
Yeah.
You continue your swamp version of island hopping. At certain points, it's unavoidable that you have to kind of swim through 3 feet of muck, but you continue this for a few more hours. You come to a little bit of a sporadic, like trees, like maybe every 50 feet, there's a tree and a clump of dry area. And as you're moving along, you come to another kind of little dry patch island, but it has a tree, but not just a tree. You see a fairly sizable stone, like a boulder. And it looks like it's been there for a while. And it's kind of all scratched up, like as if maybe it's been used for different things. But you notice there's just scratches all over it.
Like
I
somebody
tried
holding
to-
a knife or a blade on it. Those
Yeah,
types of
maybe
sketches.
maybe you think maybe somebody was like trying to hone a knife or a blade on it. Or maybe using it in some way to kind of cook on, because it does kind of have a flatter top, like worn down and eroded.
I'm gonna write on my board the message that says safe equals southwest in D-scan.
So Angler shares this with you.
We should go. The faster we get out of this swampy place, the better. I don't feel pretty good in here. It reminds me home too much.
All
Okay.
right. I'll walk by the rock and pat it.
All right. You keep walking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys walk until sunrise, and you are still in the Thar. You are covered in muck, and all of your clothes from your chest down are damp. It's very uncomfortable. And the sun is rising. You have a little more visibility now. But it
Let's
seems
find
like
it.
you are still deep in the Thar.
Let's try to find a dry spot.
Okay.
I'll roll a survival.
Go ahead.
Choo, choo, choo. Woo, nat 20.
Okay. You travel for about another hour. And you finally find a patch that is relatively dry. It still has that kind of spongy ground, like soft ground, but it's drier than the rest of the swamp that you've been in. And there's some tall grass and a few trees. And it seems like probably the best spot for you guys to stop and camp and rest that you've come across all night.
We
Now,
should take
Alright.
a quick
as
rest
you
there.
have been going southwest, you are heading more towards Flan. And I'll say you don't have to make another survival check, but you realize that if you had gone straight south, you would have ended up closer to the Moonwatch Hills. But as you have been going southwest all night, you're heading closer to Flan.
Yeah. We should probably reconsider our plans because we're heading further to the west than we anticipated.
I
It
thought
was
we were
sa-
going to Flan.
Well, we said we are going to Melvon, but southwest was the safer route for the time
Melvont
being.
would have, if you wanted to go to Melvont, you would have gone southeast.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So you're not even remotely close to Melvont.
I thought
But
our
there
plan
were
was to go to
undead,
Flan
so-
first.
we should stop by the Flan and just take a look if the druid
Did what we were saying.
was there.
You see the elf Echo kind of go over to a tree. He sets down the dagger that Angler had given him and takes off his boots and his pants and hangs them up over a limb. And then he just kind of curls up at the bottom of the tree. Vihozi is looking around for any kind of kindling. He says, "Do you think it is safe to make a fire, friends? It would be nice to dry out a little bit."
Well, you can try that, but I have something better, and I start to prestidigitate all of us
Ah,
just to make us drier.
The most
Okay.
useful spell.
Vihozi's like that. Thank you. I feel so much better, just and cleaner. Thank you. He says, "I do
Don't
not
worry
think
about
I've been
that.
this clean since before I was captured." And you actually notice that now that he's not covered in like dust from the mines and dirt, Vihozi's actually like, a moderately handsome human. Like he's not, like a supermodel, but he's moderately handsome for a human man.
Feels like he looks like me.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think you can use these, and I give him those last noble clothes I had, just to be a little bit more clothed.
He's like, I do not know what to say, my friend. Thank you. You are
Ed,
generous.
don't worry. Just look, and I go on the back of the tree where the elf is lying. I change myself to drow appearance, and I go on that elf, just to frighten him a little bit.
He is tranced.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But
Because-
Vihozi he's like, "Oh, you are truly a powerful wizard. Thank you."
Well, I'm no wizard, but thank you.
He begins taking off his lowly rags that he had been wearing in the mines, and he starts putting on the noble clothes.
Yeah, I'll set a set of noble clothes. I've got several next to the elf. So when he wakes up, he's got something nicer to wear. I'll make a good camp and do we want a fire?
I probably need to boil more water.
Yes. So if you guys are going to take a long rest, then I'll say you don't need to make any rolls. You'll just spend some time when you're in between resting, gathering water, purifying the water, gathering some food, eating some rations. You guys, over the course of the morning and into the afternoon, all obtain a long rest and regenerate and restore yourselves with a little bit of water and some food that you have.
And we can have another round of good berries if we need. So
Everybody partakes, and late afternoon, you have all rested. Echo has been awake. He's like, "Are we ready to leave? Shall we continue? Do we continue going southwest or south?" He's like, "I'm not sure of my bearings here."
Well, you said that you're going west nonetheless, so we can go southwest. It looks like safer route.
yeah, I'd
I'm
say
all for that.
keep going southwest towards Flan and see if we end up south or north of Flan when we get out of here and maybe get better bearings of where we are.
And I'm just casually saying that in the form of the drow.
He says, "Excellent. I'm all for that."
Yeah, we should go.
You notice that he's looking at you suspiciously. He says, "I know that you're some kind of wizard, but your magic is disturbing."
I say in Undercommon, I know, my friend. I know.
He just shakes his head. You guys continue moving along. Oh, yeah. Rewind. During your long rest, Murmur informs you that the forces are infiltrating the keep and gives you updates throughout the process. And essentially, Nuge led the forces per your instructions into the cave. They stealthed in, they eliminated a few kobolds and made their way up the stairs. They were able to stealth into the keep where they were able to avoid the majority of the kobold garrison that was stationed outside of the keep interior. And the dragon Cherna is not there. However, Nuge was able to find out some very important information. Nuge found a chamber within the keep that seemed to be some kind of an office. And spread out in this office was a large table, and spread out on the table were a series of maps with different locations all around the Moonsea. And some of these locations were pinpointed. Locations like Flan, Melvaunt, Thentia, and across the Moonsea from you guys, Hillsfar.
Well,
she wasn't exactly sure what the significance of this was. But she wanted to know if you had a way to communicate with the Night Lady.
well, right now we don't. I may try to contact her through our goddess, but she wouldn't be pleased. I mean, the Raven Queen. Well,
I doubt she'll be happy being a
Messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah, she wouldn't.
and it's going to take a while for Murmurs to get there.
Yeah.
Nuge tells you then that she and her forces are going to go back down into the mines and hide, but that they need to know if the dragon returns, are they going to try to take the dragon out, or are they to avoid the dragon?
Well,
So,
it looks like those maps and other things are a little bit more important right now.
so
They
do
may
you
be-
actually look through Murmur's senses?
Yeah,
Doing that?
definitely.
All right, make a perception roll then. Using
Okay.
Murmur's stats, so you get a +1 to the roll.
Okay.
Or actually, what? Hold on, let me look this up. What is Murmur again?
Imp.
I think they actually have decent perception. Let me see. Oh yeah, you get a +4 to your perception roll.
Wow.
Okay, so 20, not net.
Okay, so as Nuge, like, you know, when she and the forces are in this office looking around, they're looking at these maps. You are looking through Murmur's senses, and you notice something. You see that there's a series of books, but one of those books is a leather-bound book, and it has a stamp in the leather on the cover of the leather, and the stamp is the falling winged serpent.
Just by any means, isn't that the same book we had to retrieve from Old Flan?
It's not the same book.
Ugh.
That's a deep cut, man. I had to think about that for a second. No, it's not the same book, but the stamp is absolutely what you think it is.
Yeah. I say to Nuge, just go through that book. I'll watch through my familiar's eyes if there is something substantial for us.
Okay.
That is the seal of Zentarim.
Nuge opens the book. Do you have anything that allows you to read languages? Such as the invocation of Eyes of the Runekeeper.
I don't think so.
Okay. So what you see as Nuge is going through the book is what looks like kind of a journal, could be a spell book, you don't really know, but it's in a script that you have never seen before. It's in a language that you've never seen before. And every few pages there are, along with the writing, there's like drawings. One of the drawings that you see looks like it's like it's like a circle, like a magical circle, like a ritual circle. And you notice that there's, instead of like a pentagram in the middle, there's a skull, and the skull seems to have 5 points coming out of its head. You're not sure if it doesn't look like a crown, but it could be a crown. But the points aren't exactly straight, they kind of curve.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen
You don't know if you don't know if it's meant to be.
It looks like a ritual, but I'm not sure. Well, just metagaming a little bit, but if there'll be someone with the spell tongues cast on them, and somebody else read that strange language, would that person with the spell be able to understand?
No.
Okay.
Tongues only affects spoken language. The only thing in D&D that you would have access to would be the invocation of Eyes of the Runekeeper.
Yeah. I thought that it's a long shot, but I wanted to be sure. Well, this looks.
Nuge asks through communicating through Murmur. Nuge asks, do you want me to take this book as well as the maps? What should I do? I feel like we should take them to show the Night Lady.
Well, we should take as much things, as much maps and other papers as possible. That book may be paramount in our endeavors to free the Moonsea from that plague.
All right. She nods. She has her forces gather up the maps. She grabs the book.
Maybe it's more important than killing the dragon itself.
They stealth back down to the mines, where they go into one of the deepest mines and they kind of hide out. All right. Smash cut back to the present. So it's mid-afternoon. You guys have all had a long rest. What are you doing?
Southwest.
Traveling southwest.
You continue to travel southwest. Over the course of a couple hours before the sun sets, you find 3 more cryptic symbols. Some of them are arrangements of sticks aiming southwest. A couple more are in Thieves' Cant, etched onto the bark of trees, indicating southwest.
Angler, this looks like your turf.
I'll take point on this one.
Well,
Go ahead of everybody.
You guys continue southwest.
we should go there.
Night falls. Someone else takes over, or actually not someone else. Echo actually leads Angler as you guys continue traveling into the night. You travel through the night and into the next morning. But again, covered in muck, wet, damp, mosquitoes, all that stuff. You guys make your way, and it's starting to be more and more consistent dry land. You get the feeling that you're getting close to being out of the Thar. You guys stop for another rest, presumably?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, so you traveled like 16 hours and you're pretty tired. You stop for another rest. Again, mid-afternoon comes, you guys have rested. Presumably Harley prestidigitates everybody every once in a while to clean them up. You go through what you have of some rations, you consume more water.
Well, we still have my good berries, so no need for rations.
And so you actually travel again, and by evening you kind of arrive out to the outskirts of the Thar. And by all accounts, you feel like maybe you are northwest of the Moonwatch, because you see a line of trees that don't belong in this part of the landscape. And these trees don't look like they were destroyed. So you feel like you're at the furthest northwest area of the trees. And as you kind of emerge from the Thar into the dry land, you see in the distance, just like the sun is setting, so you could just barely see this, you see the northernmost tip miles away, but you see the northernmost tip of the Moonwatch Hills. Do you want to continue?
There?
Well, so you're basically out of the Thar, so it's up to you. Do you want to head due south towards the Moonwatch, or do you want to continue heading southwest towards Flan?
I think we should head south toward Moonwatch and get our friend Elf to a road.
Yeah, and we will travel much more comfortably on the road. It may be a little bit overgrown after such a long time of not using the road, but it will be much more comfortable. It will take us a little bit of time, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, continuing southwest might be a shortcut, but through more difficult terrain than going south through this terrain and then west along the road.
Yeah.
So you want to head south towards the road.
Yep.
Yeah, and then hang west.
All right. So you begin heading south. You're making much better time. Couple hours later, it's nighttime, but you've traveled about 15 miles and you have been just kind of on the western edge of the Moonwatch Hills as you've been traveling. You get to the main road, the road that connects Flan to Melvont. And it does indeed look not very traveled. Like the normal wear and tear that you would see is just not there. Like there's no ruts from wagons or, hoof prints from horses or anything like that.
Grass is coming back.
You definitely identify it as, the road that you have traveled.
Yeah. I'd say west toward Flan.
Yes.
I think we're pretty close to Flan, especially compared to Melvont. Melvont is a long way off.
What's the elf's name again?
Echo Cloudstrider.
Is it AKO or EKO?
ECHO, like Echo.
ECHO. Okay.
Well, Echo, this is the road. You may go whichever way you're going. I guess we're going to Flan.
Yeah,
I will walk with you. I will walk with you a ways. He's like, I'm hoping that maybe I can find maybe a small fishing settlement somewhere where there would be a boat.
Well,
I wouldn't count on that. There were, when we were in Melvont, there were sea creatures who destroyed the entire dock at Melvont. So I wouldn't count on finding anything like that.
Echo, you see his head just drop. He's like, oh. All right, I guess I'll take my chances and go with you to Flan. Maybe there will be something there.
It's a bigger port. You might find something.
And again, you might continue your travels on the road that goes along the night, along the Moonsea. So maybe
Plenty of
further,
options.
maybe further away from the Flan, you'll have more luck with finding any ship.
I suppose you could be right. You guys continue walking through the night.
Yeah.
While we're walking, I'll also give Echo my bow and arrow. Just in case.
He bows again.
28 arrows.
Okay.
Should be plenty.
You guys walk and it's now about midnight. And you're maybe about a mile away from Flan, from the eastern side of Flan. What's your move?
I think he's better staying with us.
Could I sneak forward?
Yeah, if you guys want to continue moving towards Flan, you could kind of try to be stealthy. Angler, Echo's willing to go up with you, as he is unarmored and can also be pretty stealthy. So he kind of leads you a little bit ahead of the group, and you guys kind of carefully continue going along. You get a couple hundred yards away from Flan. You could see it kind of just by the moonlight. It looks like the wooden palisades, the walls that surrounded it, have been I don't want to say repaired, but like it looks like the parts of the walls that were destroyed have been repaired, but it looks obviously not like great craftsmanship. Like it looks like kind of just patched work, a variety of different wood and logs that have been kind of put into place to repair the walls. You also see the main gate has also been replaced, and that is closed. So the road kind of dead ends at the gate on the eastern side of Flan.
Can I see anything? No, nobody with torches on the palisades on the wall.
No, in fact, you don't see any lights. The only thing illuminating it is the moon.
Maybe we should take a road
I'll go
alongside
back
this.
to the group.
Maybe we should take the route along the south side of the quivering forest and
So you could
go to the plan from the north.
You could do that. You could walk due south to like basically to the coast and try to go hook around that way.
I thought more in the means of the river that leads to the Flan from the north.
Yep. So you could go north and west and cut over to the river.
I don't know what's safer, but if there are still some creatures in the sea, we can avoid them at least somehow by taking the river.
It's a pretty big river, and so it's not going to be easy to cross.
Yeah, I
And
know.
probably
But
the only bridge is just beyond Flan. So
maybe we can go through the graveyard, and maybe we'll find more open spaces in those palisades there.
yeah, but
I'm
why
not sure about that.
Why are we afraid of Flan? I mean, it looks like there's repairs being done. So
But by whom?
yeah, but I mean, the plague will be over. Otherwise, there wouldn't be these repairs.
Remember that the kobolds marched here. So this
Yeah.
is being, this
Yeah.
is an occupied city.
And some Zentarum
Any obvious,
warlock or something was there also.
is there any obvious sights of there being a fight? Any arrows stuck in the walls or?
Not from that you could see from where you guys currently are.
Okay.
It looks like the cottages and buildings that were outside of the walled part of the city, that some of them like are just completely destroyed, kind of like the buildings in Melvont when the plague was taking over. Some of them are just burned down and destroyed. Others look like they're intact, but it seems like completely abandoned. Like you don't hear anyone, you don't see anyone, there's no lights on.
Yeah. So the only way here with the road to get across the river would be through the city, right?
Well, as Harley was saying, you could go north of the town, cut west, try to cross the river and go to the other side if you
Yeah,
want.
but it's a pretty big river, so there's not going to be any more bridges along the way. I suppose this being the only real road.
Well, the thing
And
is,
swimming across.
you don't know if There were bridges. You don't know if they're intact.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, this being the
Syllar,
main road, I wonder how many bridges will be further upstream.
Hey, Syllar, can you take that spyglass and see if there's any patrols on the walls?
I can try, yeah.
Maybe they're not afraid of anyone coming from the outside, but still, I'd at least put patrols up.
Yeah. Well, that's a natural 20 if you want to have a perception check.
Okay. Using the spyglass, you see the silhouettes of just barely peeking over the ramparts, like barely. You see like helmets. And you're a smart enough person to know that if they were humans or, elves or medium-sized humanoids, that you'd at least see them from the chest up. So whatever helmets are there look shorter.
All right. Kobolds slash
And
dwarf.
you don't see a lot of them.
Short.
It's like every like 50 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the plan. And correct me if I'm wrong. But I can cast tongues on myself just to speak with whomever there is.
Yes.
And I can change into kobold-shaped humanoid.
You'd be a large kobold, but yes.
Yeah, I know, but I may try that, and if they start shooting on me, I'll change to some more pleasant race.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay, I'm not very intelligent either. Okay. 7. Yep, 7.
Okay.
If we only knew what they were wearing.
Well,
So we
kobolds
could
being my
disguise you better.
sworn enemies, I will probably be better able to recognize if they are kobolds.
You think the size, based on what you've seen on the ramparts, the size would indicate kobolds. But
Yeah.
the heads you're seeing are helmeted.
Yeah, but and they're not really known for having a specific armament to be recognized with.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's highly doubtful they'll be having dwarves out here, so best guess would be kobolds occupying the city.
Well, I'm not that smart of a guy, but I think I'll give it a shot. Maybe those are just helmets there. Maybe those are just to scare us, really.
Well, they're moving about, so they're not helmets on sticks.
Yeah, but we can try that. And I promptly cast tongues on myself and changed to a large kobold. They won't see the difference from that afar.
You have to have a reason why you're outside the city.
Yeah.
If you're a guard, if you're a lowly kobold guard.
I know.
So are you guys talking about this strategy?
No, I'm just doing that.
Okay, you just do it. All right.
And
okay.
I say to Ushun, just rough me a little bit. And I stick my chin up. Okay.
Okay. I'll throw some grass on him and okay, hang on.
Echo says rough you?
You'll see. Okay, come on, big girl. Give me one.
Okay. I do some non-lethal fist type damage to his face.
Okay.
Maybe a scratch on his forehead, something like that. Non-lethal, but
I can deal with that.
throw
Okay,
some more leaves on you, dust, whatever.
and I try to limp my way towards the gates.
Okay. Are you walking like up the path towards them?
Well, I try to take not direct route, but I try to act confused,
Okay.
you know?
Go ahead and make a performance roll.
Okay, performance. I'm good at that. Okay, I'm not good at that. 11.
Okay. As you get about 50 feet away from the gate, you hear a voice call off. Who is it? Who goes there?
It's me. I got lost. Where am I? Who's there?
What are you doing outside of the city? Fool.
I don't know. I just woke up on the south of this forest.
Have you been drinking grog? Get in here now before you are caught.
Okay. I go.
You hear a sound and you see the gate is opened just a little bit. And you see a kobold come out. He is wearing a helmet. He has a shield. And he has chainmail armor and a sword, short sword. And he comes out and he says, "Where is your armor, your weapons? I should report you to the watch commander, you fool. Get in here."
What?
Stupid.
I got lost. They say that I'm big, that I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid, you know. I got eyes.
Shut up and come inside. We must close the gate before the watch commander comes. Hurry up. Go to your barracks and sleep off your drunk, fool.
Okay, I go now.
And as you pass into the wall, they close the gate. There's another kobold inside who turns this big lever and the gate closes. And then they slide a wooden deadbolt across it. Above you, you see two more kobold guards. All of them are wearing helmets, shields, swords, and chainmail armor. The ones up top above you have bows. They have short bows. You also notice that there is a pole with a bell and a rope on a pulley.
It's like close to me or really further away?
I mean, it's like 10 feet away. As you are kind of entering this space, you see that like this is the main barracks yard, it looks like a gatehouse, and there's a barracks, and then there's another gate that goes further into the complex.
I try to like act maybe hungover and really confused, and I try to like stumble towards the pole with that bell and just like drunkly play with that a little bit, like I'm not feeling very well. That's
the guard, the same one that came out to talk to you at the gate, comes over to you and he says, "What did I tell you? Go to the barracks now." And he points with his sword to the gate across the yard. And he says, "If the watch commander comes here, I will not make any excuses for you. You will be whipped, fool.
Okay, I got it. I got it. And I'll try to go to the barracks and just to make like reconnaissance what's happening there.
Okay, you go through the gate, you go into a larger yard, you see two more large buildings. You could see that there's a little bit of candlelight inside these buildings. And then the path continues further into the main part of the walled town.
And I presume kobolds everywhere.
You definitely hear people like talking inside the buildings where you see the candles, and you see a few more guards further on, kind of in the main square of the walled town.
And there are like kobold guards.
Yes, all of them wearing the same armor. And I should point out that this is not like shoddy armor. Like
they're pretty well
helmets
equipped.
are well made. The shields, the armor is well made, like sized for the kobolds. And the swords are definitely castle forged swords.
I try to stumble across the roads a few times just to assess if there was any attack or wasn't from the sea. And if I don't...
Do you want to head south towards the seawall?
Yeah, but I'd like to try that more stealthily. Just act like I belong there.
All right, make a stealth roll. Actually, I'll let you choose. Are you acting as a drunkard, or are you trying to be stealthy? If you're acting like a drunkard, make a performance check. If you're trying to be stealthy, make a stealth check.
It's same for me, I think. No, performance is better. So I try to act like I'm drunk.
Okay.
20, not net.
All right, you kind of stumble through. At one point you pass a guard, and he like looks at you and he laughs and he's like, "Look, that one had too much grog." And the other one's laughing at you.
I look at him. I'm not stupid, you know. Just because I'm big, I'm not stupid. I have eyes, and I drank too much.
Make a perception check.
I'm not very perceptive. 16.
Perceptive enough to notice something. You notice, because there's only moonlight, but now you are close enough, you notice that on their shields is emblazoned the symbol of the falling winged serpent.
And I have my brutal dark vision.
You stumble and make your way to the south. Again,
yeah.
You pass by buildings, some of them completely ruined, burned down, wrecked, a few of them intact. And you see that, like, it looks more like Melvant looked during the peak of the plague breakout. But it doesn't look like this place has been smashed or attacked recently. In fact, some of the buildings that looked a little damaged look like they've been repaired and patched up, kind of like the walls. As you get to the south tower, the southernmost tower inside of the walls, you notice that wall is intact. The seawall, which is made of stone, is intact. You can climb up if you want. There's a ladder that goes up to the rampart, and you do see kobold guards on that wall as well.
I'll try that.
Okay.
I'll try to climb.
So you climb up, you get to the rampart, you look out, and you have extensive dark vision. You are able to see Thorn Island, which is the little island just south of kind of the main part of the town of Flan. And you notice the keep on the island, and it is still intact. And at the highest, you see like the central tower of the keep. At the top of that tower, you see light in the windows, not like candlelight, like light.
Just for my information, is there any?
There's no bridge that connects to Thorn Island.
I know, but is there a way how to get to the island from the sea? Maybe a bit more stealthily.
You could swim. Now you haven't gone to the docks, and you can't really see them from the distance that you're at. So you don't know if there's any ships or even boats. But I mean, from where you're at, the only way to get to Thorn Island would be to swim or take a boat.
Okay, just how far from the outer ramparts or outer palisade I'm from? Like, what's the distance between me and the edge of the city?
Well, like what, to get back to your friends or to get to the docks?
To get anywhere out of the city.
You could go
preferably not to the water.
You could go to the west gate, which is, you know, about 250 feet away from where you are.
Because if I can see all of that, I think that my work here is done, and I might try to misty step out of the city and
if you're misty stepping, you can misty step to the other side of the wall and be out of the walled city and just walk around the wall until you get, you know, to one of the bridges. The closest bridge would be the one that leads you to the road that runs alongside the cemetery, the graveyard.
Yeah, I'll have to get out of the city and back to my friends just to inform them what's going on there.
Okay. So are you going to do Misty Step and take the long way around?
Well, I'll try to walk as far as I can without Misty Stepping and without attracting too much of the kobolds to me. And then
the problem that you know is that every one of the gates is closed and manned by kobolds.
Yeah, so I have to probably Misty Step where I'm now and then go by the large circle around the city.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
that would be the best.
No roll is necessary. You kind of wait until no one's looking. You Misty Step down and you just make your way around. As long as you're going slowly and being stealthy, you don't need to make any rolls.
Yeah, I'll try that. And
so as you get around the wall and you're trying to head back northwest and then northeast and then east back to your friends, you see that the first bridge that crosses from the island back onto the mainland is completely obliterated. It's gone. But the second bridge is intact. You cross that bridge and you're walking along the road, the iron route that leads to the Valingian Way, and you're passing the Valingian graveyard. And as you're passing, you hear sounds, like lots of sound. You hear kobolds. It sounds like they're talking. You hear somebody barking off orders, and you look in the cemetery, and it looks like there's about 30 kobolds that are working. They have shovels and picks and rope, and it looks like basically they're digging up all of the graves. You see a bunch of the graves dug up. You see piles of dirt. You see lanterns in different positions. You also see kobolds that are in full armor and it looks like they are digging up all these graves.
Okay, I should hurry. This won't be good if there are any undead in the equation. Ah, that's not good at all. I hurry to my friends and
Okay,
to
you
inform
make your
them.
way past. You get around the bend, and you go to what you remember there being a bridge to cross over. That bridge is also destroyed. The only way that you can cross this river is to swim.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, make an
I'll try
athletics check. And that's when Harley drowned. End of camp.
17.
Okay, good enough. You swim across the river, you get to the other side, you begin working your way back to your friends. Smash cut back in time. The rest of you are hiding out in one of the abandoned buildings, like 250 feet away from the gate where Harley went in. What, if anything, are you guys doing during that time? I will start with Syllar.
Yeah, as he was making his way to the gate, I take out my spyglasses and keep an eye on him and the wall, see how the helmets react.
So you saw basically his entrance. Everything after that, you wouldn't have known.
I was close enough to see the iron, was it a chainmail?
Yes.
And the
You were close enough to see the guard who opened the gate and came out to talk to him.
yeah, as
I
being
wouldn't.
well
I
armored.
wouldn't say. Actually, I wouldn't say that from that distance that you would have seen the detail on his shield, but you would have seen that he was wearing a helmet and a shield and armor.
Yeah. So we
And since I
know
will
that
give you,
they're well armored.
well, I'll give you this. Since kobolds are one of your favorite enemies,
Mm-hmm.
you've never seen kobolds this well decked
Equipped.
out. Yeah, you've never
Yeah.
seen them this well equipped.
Yeah.
This is
These are
very, very uncommon.
some next level kobolds.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll warn the rest of us that they're pretty well up, well done, and probably well trained kobolds,
All right.
not your average. Yeah.
Let's
Especially
see.
after he gets in and the helmets don't really react out. It looks like he made it in safe and sound, and there's no. I don't think he got made.
Okay.
So we can
Angler,
just sit back, relax, and wait until we see some other signal.
Angler, what are you doing during this time?
Trying not to panic and go after Harley, I'm going to ask the elf to just teach me some like insults in Elvish.
Okay, he does. He seems very enthusiastic to teach you insults about the drow. All right, Ushun.
Well, I get Vihosi's help, and I want to check the walls and the floor. I'm looking to see if there's any hiding places. Check to see if there's anything useful to be found.
Vihosi's like, I'm sorry, my friend. I can barely see my own hand in front of my face. It's so dark inside of this building.
No problem, I'll do it. I'm looking for a trap door to see if someone may have been hiding out.
Okay.
You know, stomp around a little.
I'm assuming you're
Called
trying
in.
to do this quietly. Make an investigation check.
Yeah. Where am I? Investigation. Ooh, natural 20.
Okay. You find not a secret door, but you find a trap door that it looks like it might lead down into kind of a crawl space area. You go down there, you have dark vision. and you see what looks like a small stock of supplies. Like maybe the people who lived here were trying to, stock up and trying to wait out the plague. There are, there's a stack of dried rations, and all of them seem to be unspoiled. So there's 6 days of dried rations. You also see a crowbar and 2 daggers and a few bedrolls.
Okay, I'll take 2 bedrolls, 3 days of rations. I'll take the crowbar.
Okay.
And I'll give a bedroll to Vihosi and 1 to Echo.
Echo
And I
bows.
said there's 3 more days of dried rations down here.
Vihosi's
I
like,
decided to leave them.
Pass
Huh?
them up, my friend. Pass them up. I will carry them. He wraps
Well-
the bedroll that you gave him. He wraps up the dried rations and then like slings that over his back.
You taking them all?
He's like, might we not need them?
I was going to leave a few here for anyone who wanted to get away, but okay. Yeah, I will take all 6 days of rations.
Okay. All right.
Those are to be shared,
Vihosi's like, of course, my friend. You see Echo after a little while of waiting for Harley. Echo's like, I would like to go see if those docks are still intact.
Someone should come with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Oh.
go with him.
He's like, we will be quiet.
But it's still
So-
dark out, so you're not gonna see much, Angler.
Yes, good point. Perhaps, Angler, you should wait here with Ushun and Vihosi.
Probably better off if I go along.
Echo nods. So, Syllar, you and Echo begin to head south, and you kind of skirt the eastern side of the remnants of the town. Moving stealthily, you guys kind of get down to towards the rocky sort of beach coast. And again, you see a mix of buildings that look like they were destroyed during the plague, but then some that are still intact. You don't see any kobolds on the outskirts of town. You make your way down, you're kind of circling around now along the southern part of the coast, and you stop short near some of the warehouse buildings. You see that some of the docks are completely destroyed. But you see across the water that the docks that are anchored to the keep, to the walled city, are still intact, and it looks like they've even been patched up. And you see at the end of the biggest dock in the deeper part of the bay, you see a sizable ship, like a caravel. You
Mhm.
also see a few smaller sailing boats and a few rowboats that seem to be tied up at the docks. You do also see a lot of kobolds, like
All right.
probably 20 of them.
Okay.
Echo looks to you, and in Elvish, he's like, I don't think that I will be able to steal a boat, at least not while there's that many guards. But it's good to know that the docks are intact and that there are some options.
Yeah, it looks like there are some boats. Do we see any signs on the like ship names or identifying where they came from? Who they might belong to?
Not without, well, what's the reach of your spyglass?
Oh, good question.
Because you're about 250 feet away from the biggest ship.
What does it say? Objects viewed through a spyglass are magnified twice their size.
Yeah, that's too far away.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, if you wanted to try to
it's a-
stealth closer, you could, but Echo's not interested in taking that chance.
Yeah. Let's see. If I'm above 10, I'm too interested and want to go closer. And that's a 9, so I'm just barely not interested enough.
Echo is like wise choice.
Yeah.
He's like, come, let's go back.
Yeah.
So you guys return, make your way back. Around the same time that you get back.
And oh, by the way, Bill, the goblins that we saw, the helmets on the walls and stuff, they were still roaming quietly. So I'm assuming that Harley hasn't been made still.
Yeah, you don't hear any, sounds of alarm or shouting or battle or anything. So,
yeah.
You're getting back. You get back to Ushun and Angler and Vihosi, and a few minutes later, Harley walks up. And now you're all back at your spot.
Okay, guys, we have a problem here. Well, I think that maybe that mad druid crossed us, or he did not attack yet, because the city is still pretty much intact besides a few damages due to the plague, but there's a lot of goblins with Zentarum equipment, kobolds with Zentarum equipment, and they're pretty well equipped, and they are digging graves also. I'm afraid that they're trying to boost their numbers by undead.
Yeah, digging graves? I mean, I don't remember them really burying their dead. What do you mean digging graves?
Yeah.
They're digging graves that are already there.
So unearthing?
Yeah, they're
probably
exhuming-
they're probably
exhuming
looking
bodies
for
or looking for-
spoils. They're looking for treasure.
I'm not sure, Ushun, because if they have that Zentarum warlock or sorceress, or just that Zentarum dude with them, he may be more powerful wizard than we thought, and maybe he's able to raise dead. But
First off, remember, do not refer to Morsis Ohm as the mad druid, because he doesn't like that. Okay.
well, he's not there, so
yeah, but he's Morsis Ohm. Okay. Second, he wasn't sure whether he could convince his people to do the attack. So maybe he hasn't arrived yet. I know it's been a few days, but
Well,
Third,
these are some well-armored kobolds, so maybe his people were overwhelmed at the strength of their numbers, and I
well,
don't know.
nevertheless, I may have a clue where that Zentarum madman is right now. And he may be on the Thorn Island Keep. It was the only place I saw that has like light in, and if he's studying there or trying to do his experiments with the corpses or something, he might be there.
Yeah, when we were scoping out the docks, we would have been able to see that lighthouse, right? The
Well,
tower
it's
with
not.
the bright
It's
light.
not the lighthouse where
No,
Harley saw.
I mean, it being the tower with the bright light.
No,
We wouldn't have
That-
seen that.
no, because not from the angle that you guys were at. If you had gone closer to the docks,
Okay.
well, did you see any transportation of body parts out of the graveyard?
Do you think I lingered there for that long? No, I heard a lot of kobolds digging. I rushed here. Well, maybe when, or if we can dispatch that Xantharm leader of theirs, we may just scatter them, without proper management. What will they do?
We got to check out what's going on in the graveyard.
I know that's a long shot, but there is no bridge that previously was across that river, and we may sneak or swim towards that Thorn Island, but maybe
Well,
maybe for us.
Do you have Murmur with you?
No, not right now. He's still with Noosh and others.
Okay. Someone should sneak over to the graveyard and see exactly what they're doing. I think they're looting.
Well,
Well, if the army is heading out of the keep back towards Melvond with the paperwork, maybe the number is big enough to have split their army and send a part our way and send a small contingent toward Melvond and the Night Lady to return the paperwork. And maybe we can bolster our number and fight these kobolds.
And maybe the small strike force would be more successful. And I look to their faces like, what are we going to do? Well, we're too far from Melvond to just go there for reinforcements, and
yeah, but the army is still in the Thar.
Yeah, and it took us a few days just to get here. I'm not sure we can.
I doubt these kobolds are going anywhere.
Yeah, how many kobolds were in the graveyard, do you estimate?
Many voices I heard.
More than 20?
I don't know exactly. I haven't checked.
Okay.
But it's really unsettling,
Yeah, it is. I think they're looting.
I don't recall kobolds going through graves just to loot.
Yeah, there is something more. I can feel that. Well, maybe we should take a nap and think about it later, but I'm not sure we're safe here.
Well, I think we'll be safe here. I don't think they have roaming parties going through this devastated outskirts.
Oh, we can try that. We can sleep here and take some rest.
As long as we don't make any fires or anything that lights up or smokes, so we remain undetectable. I doubt we'll be seeing any of them coming out of the city this way.
Yeah.
I'm digging through my pack and I pull out 2 tinder boxes and I give one to Vihosi and one to Echo.
By the way, they have like bells, alarms. If we can lure them towards gate on the one side of the city, maybe the rest of us can just take it around and sneak up on the Thorn Island, wait for the others.
Do
Or
you have
other-
something like Mage Hand or something that you can just ring the bell and just set him off like a continuing string of false alarms, just to get him on edge? And
I just roll my eyes a little bit, and I'm not a mage, you know, my powers are coming from the goddess.
no, you know,
Hey, Echo. Elves have magical abilities. You got anything?
No, my people are woodland folk,
Yeah.
much like Sylars.
yeah.
Oh,
Our magic doesn't stretch that way.
or I can just sneak up near the gate and cast some spell or like darkness over the gate, and maybe they will sound the alarm. It lasts for a pretty long time, and we can, in that time, sneak around. Maybe there will be some parts of the city that will be devoid at that time of kobolds. I don't know.
Huh. I think you can cast darkness on the gate and we can sneak into the graveyard.
That's also a possibility, but I'm not sure. It's just an
Yeah.
idea, you know.
I'd say see if some of the folks from the Thor can come our way. Like I said, this place isn't going anywhere soon, so there will be enough time for them to get here. I don't expect reinforcements because the party was already sent from the keep over here. And the other part was what the army took out at the keep themselves. So I don't see any reinforcements coming. We got time to wait for them. And they can send a party to Malvant with paperwork, and the rest of them can come here. And I think with their number, we can do some good work.
And also they can distract the kobolds just together in one place.
And sneak around back, or yeah.
Yeah, we can sneak around to the Thorn Island, but I'm not sure about those gravediggers.
Yeah, but I don't think we can do anything about that with their number. If we go to the graveyard and try and take out whoever is there, it's going to be a major fight for just the 6 of us. If
And they will sound
guys
the
are willing to help.
alarms.
Well, I'm kind of fond of picking them off one at a time, putting some fear in their bodies, like, ooh, another one's dead. What's happened here?
Well, if they're struck down with an arrow, I'll be expecting them to go send out search parties throughout the city and the surrounding areas to see whoever is here.
Yeah, I
And
suppose.
that's going to
but,
be. It's either an all-out assault or nothing. I think anything less will be warning them and setting them off, and getting all of them out and searching for us. And
Okay,
with their number, it's not going to be too healthy for us, I think.
Okay, should I then contact Noosh and the others?
I think ask them to split up, and it's going to be too long a time for Murmur to even fly from them to the Night Lady to inform and ask permission, and then back to the army. So just request the army themselves and to split and come here. By the way,
Well,
Bill, do we have
let's-
any idea of their number?
Of how many from Melvant?
Yeah, how many was
forces-
in the raiding party to the
The
keep?
forces from Melvant were 30 people. That's it.
Mm.
It was
Okay.
it was basically Nuge and like 10 of her crew from Thentia, and then another 20 of the forces from the Night Lady from Melvon. So they're about
Okay.
30 people.
Okay, so about 20 to 25 can come our way.
Well,
Well-
let's see what Nuge thinks.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
Harley, you reach out to Nuge through Murmur.
Yeah.
What do you tell her?
How do you keep up with the dragon?
She says, so far so good. We've been hiding out in the mines, occasionally scouting to make sure that, you know, there's the dragon has still not returned to the keep. But we're keeping our eyes and ears open. We've avoided the kobold guards, the sentries. Seems like they have many kobolds here. We're
Well,
definitely
the-
outnumbered. So if they were to discover us, we would probably have to flee to survive, because there
Well,
seems to be about 150 here at the keep.
so are we outnumbered, but we are at the gates of Flan.
And what-
Kobolds rebuilt part of the city. And we may have suspicion that Xantharon Warlock is there doing some business with the corpses from the graveyard, and we need a few people to make a ruse just to lure kobolds away from the place we think that this wizard or whatever it is resides. What do you think about that?
She says, I don't know anything about that. We were sent here to find out more about what was going on. We have. She says, I don't know if we should stay. I don't know if we should try to defeat the dragon, because if the dragon has this army of kobolds here at the keep, there's no way that we could defeat both of those groups. She says, my instinct is to return to Melvont with these items that we've recovered, the maps and this strange book, and bring it to the Night Lady.
Well,
but it is a long journey back to Melvont through the Thar.
Could you probably send a smaller force to Melvont and come to our aid with the rest?
Why? What would we do?
Well, it looks like that mad druid wasn't successful in persuasion of his people to attack Fan. So it may be a little bit of
But maybe if he keeps his eye on the Flan and he sees us in the the army gathering here, then maybe they'll think like there's enough aid and doing a combined attack.
Yeah, that might
She
be one
says,
possibility.
I can't, that's not a choice I can make without somehow communicating with the Night Lady.
Well, for my familiar, it would take a few days just to go back to Melvont.
We are heading out tonight.
That's a good idea.
We will travel south towards the Moonwatch Hills. And once we reach the Moonwatch Hills, we are going to head west to Melvont. The Night Lady will, she can communicate with you, can she not?
Well,
With her magic?
not directly. I'm not sure. We may communicate through our goddess, but it's dangerous task.
She says, do what you will, but I know that there's no way that I can risk bringing our forces to Flan.
So what do you think? Should we retreat? Because
She says that's up to you, but I know that we will be returning to Melvont.
what if that Xantharum emissary itself is Cherna?
I don't know. I don't know of dragon lore. I don't know what they can do. I don't know if it's possible for a black dragon to appear to be a man.
Or vice versa.
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave my familiar with you. He's good at scouting and he may be very useful in traversing the swamps of the land, but we will discuss here.
Very well.
We will let you know. Safe travels, my friend.
You as well. Be careful.
Okay, guys, we have a little bit of predicament here. No one's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe, just maybe, our best course of action is head back to Melvont. I'm not saying that
Well,
so
between
willingly, but
between here and Melvont is the cave where we found that druid guy. So maybe go to
yes.
his cave again, see if he shows up and talk with him. It's a way shorter distance than going all the way to Melvont.
Yes, and he's also very powerful warlock. So
Yeah, I think if we're going that way, we might as well stop by his place.
he'll be asking us if we killed the dragon.
Oh, we did kill a dragon. Wouldn't be a lie.
You know, you get the point. Maybe we can go there and just butter him
Like
a
I said,
little bit.
it is on the way.
Yeah.
Might as well make a stop.
And it's a
Yeah,
sheltered place. There's lots of good fish around.
Hey, you're the clever bunch. But we should head there under the cover of night. I'm not sure if our...
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure if Echo would like to go with us back east, but
He says, you have friends in Melvont. Melvont's safe.
safer than anywhere we were for past few days.
He's like, maybe there's a boat that I could take from Melvont. I will go with you.
The docks were destroyed. There was.
Yeah,
You saw a ship there, didn't you, Harley?
Where?
Well, I'm not
At
sure, you know, but we can go there and we will see. It's our best shot right now. We can stop by the druid and we can ask him about the attack, but
yeah, like I said, it's on the way. We might as well go by him or by his place to see if he's there, or try and contact him.
As you said, my friend, we killed a dragon. Not exactly the dragon he wanted us to kill, but we killed a dragon. We killed the black dragon.
Yeah.
So we won't be lying.
Yeah, and like you said, it might even be that Cherna is not really a dragon, but a warlock or whoever, whatever, that can mutate, transform into a dragon-like look and fly and destroy things.
Maybe he or she
Harley?
is.
There,
Yes.
Can a changeling turn into a dragon?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
well, something that looks alike.
Maybe a dragonborn, but that's it.
Can changelings or druids transform into something that much bigger than themselves?
Well, changeling not, but druids maybe. I don't know the nature's magic.
Yeah. But
Echo
Anyway.
Echo shakes his head. He says, I know of no druid who could turn into a dragon. They can turn into beasts, certainly. Bears,
yeah, but
other animals. But I know of no druid who has ever changed into a dragon. I do know of legends of powerful wizards who could temporarily take the shape of a dragon, but this
Yeah.
is stuff of legend and myth.
all right. Anyway, like I said, if we're going towards Melvond, we might as well stop by the druid's cave and see if we can, if he is there or he shows up.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be too far from here, so
we'll
right.
see. It's already on our way, so it's our best shot yet.
You guys make your
Echo,
way.
Echo and Vihosi, what do you say?
Vihosi is like, I go with you, my friends, wherever you choose, and preferably as far away from this dangerous place as possible.
maybe we can take a little bit of time in these outskirts and go through some of the buildings, see if there's any goods that might help, any shields or armor or better weapons for you guys, or
I'm not sure we can risk that.
well,
Kobolds are small and weak, but these are really well equipped and they have the numbers.
yeah, but like you said, they're not supposed to be outside the gates. So this part of the city might still be quiet enough, at least at night, to go through some of the buildings to see if something might be here. Maybe we can recognize some storefronts. Like maybe there's a smithy out in the outskirts or something, or something that might have some arms or, you know.
I know, my friend, but I'm not sure about that. I think we should hurry. It would be in our best interest to go to the druid as fast as we can and maybe back to the Melvond as fast as we can. We are now sufficiently equipped. Not in the best way, but we still are. And this may jeopardize our attempts to escape this place.
All right. If the guys are okay with that, and suppose we wait till it's dark enough and boogie on out of here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, it's dark enough. I mean, it's night. So you begin making your way east. Are you traveling along the coast or along the road?
I prefer the road.
Okay. You travel. You go 20 miles. Most of the night. And it's still just before dawn when you're at the foothills and the Moonwatch Hills. You cut south to go along the coast, and the sun is rising across the Moonsea to the east. and you come to that cove, and you see the entrance to the cave.
Now remember, his name is Morsis Ohm. Do not refer to him as the Mad Druid. He'll get very angry.
He'll get mad.
I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy.
I don't know sometimes.
Well, you know me.
Okay, so what do you guys do?
Should I go alone or
Oh,
should
let's
we
all
all
just
go?
walk up there.
Okay, so you walk in, you're splashing through the water. You walk into the cave and you see the familiar ledge that leads up to kind of the drier part of the cave. No one is in there. It
Yeah,
doesn't
he
look
wasn't-
like it doesn't look like anyone's been in there recently either.
Yeah, but he might have some sense that we turned up here. Just like last time we were in here and he showed up a couple of hours later or so.
Okay.
We
So
will-
you have been
Take a
traveling
rest.
throughout the night and you're
Yeah.
all pretty tired.
Like I said, we're going to take a long rest here and see if he shows up. And otherwise, we can look if there's any paperwork or stuff that we can write a note to inform him if he ever returns.
Okay.
So take a long rest first and see if he shows up.
All right. So is anybody on watch or are you all just taking a long rest?
I'll take the first watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Roll
between
me
ourselves,
a d20. Straight roll.
Okay. 19.
Okay. The rest of you are sleeping or trancing. Harley, about 2 hours into your watch, you're pretty tired, but you're kind of sitting in this dark cave. You hear the sound of the water lapping up into the cave. It's kind of a very restful sound. And you hear the flapping of wings. And you see a familiar bird arrive and land on the rocks inside of the cave.
Morse's Ohm, I presume.
The bird looks at you and looks at the rest of you. And it looks directly back at you and it opens its beak. And from its beak emits the voice of Morse's Ohm. And it says, "Thank the gods you have returned. You must help me. I am trapped."
Where are you? Where are you trapped? Where are you kept?
I am in the
Please
keep
don't say Flan.
I am in the keep of Thorn Island. I am
Oh,
trapped in a magic
God.
circle. I cannot counter its magic. It's powerful. But you must come quickly. They're almost near their goal.
Okay, we'll be there shortly.
Be careful. His magic is powerful.
Who is he? Just
The wizard from Zent, the one who serves with Cherna. They seek some ancient power, something that is hidden in Flan. And if he finds it, I am certain we are all doomed.
of course they are searching for the old Flan and for the temple of the dark god. Oh my god, was I stupid? That blasted crypt. Okay. How much time do we have?
I do not know. I have been trapped here for at least a week. It is difficult to tell day from night. It's somewhere in the dungeons of this keep on Thorn Island.
Is there any way possible to get there unseen? Some underwater route or anything?
I do not know.
Okay. We can deal with that. We will be there. Just prepare us a nice dinner. Okay, guys, we have a problem here.
Oh, man.
What?
And that seems like as good as any time to end this episode of the Moonsea Adventures, everybody. Stay tuned to find out what happens next. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and liking. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace out. Bye.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that, because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.